Cool guys. All right. So we shot one yesterday with Fred and myself. We're going to do one with Ray today, make it a little bit more mainstream, give you more of a frame. I do believe we're going to go off of what you guys are most hearing. And if not, we can do another one and adjust it. But Ray will be the prospect. I'll be the sales guy here. So awesome. Here we go. Hey Ray, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. I appreciate you being here today. It's starting to get a little bit warm over here. I'm sweating my butt off. How are things out where you're at?
55.
No, that's not too bad. That seems nice. Good stuff, man. Yeah, no, happy to connect here today. I'm just taking a look here. I'm pulling up actually your profile. I know you filled out a form on our end as far as where you're at currently within your business. So we'll get to that a little bit more so here. But ultimately, can you just kind of tell me, what really intrigued you or interests you to book a call here today to learn more about our services and what we do?
I came across one of your ads with Adam, talking about your Pixel and your Audience Lab services. And it kind of piqued my interest. I thought that was something that was unique and, maybe I can implement into my agency and what I got going on for my clients. I just really wanted to learn more about it. And then I got a little direction. After I booked the ad, I watched a couple of his videos on YouTube and it just even, piqued my intrigue a little bit more.
Awesome, man. So it sounds like you're fairly educated on what we do. You've done your due diligence. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Most people don't actually do that. So nice to hear you've done your research. That being said, what do you actually know about us specifically? I know you said a little about the Pixel Audience Lab. You watched some YouTube. What is it specifically what we do, and what would you like to know more of?
I know you guys have a super graph and a platform or, where you're going to be able to go in and build audience. I know you have a pixel where you can, recapture an audience of people that have landed on your page and bounce visitors. And I have kind of an all-encompassing digital marketing agency. So a lot of those things tie into either making my service better for my clients or making their services better for theirs.
Love it, man. Awesome. Very, very good. So is it safe to say here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like you'd be utilizing this more so for your client specifically rather than yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's ways I tie it in for myself too, but I think it's more for my clients. I don't really have a problem acquiring clients, and I'm not looking to take on a bunch more. I just like to keep the retention and the service I deliver and be able to be, top notch and stand out. So
Okay.
it's not about me acquiring clients; it's about using the data and the retargeting and things like that for how I can better my results for them.
Understood. So retention on your end and providing better results to clients you currently have. Is that correct?
Yeah, those would be, yep.
Awesome, man. Okay, cool. Now, with that there, can you kind of tell me, who essentially is your ideal or who is your client base right now? Like what essentially models, niches are you really going towards or working with specifically this time?
I have quite a few, but again, we're a digital marketing agency. We do quite a bit of things. We have a pretty good in-house team, and I have some white label partners that I outsource certain fulfillment aspects. But we do anything from paid ads to website builds to SEO services, building out funnels, ad creatives, copywriting, content creation. So we have kind of a wide variety. We're pretty full stack marketing agency. What was the second aspect of the question?
Just essentially what type of your clientele base that you currently have you're working with. Is there a
Oh
specific?
yeah. Yeah, so it seems we get kind of a wide variety, but we get a lot of businesses in home services. We work with, some roofers, some plumbers, some electricians. There's a lot of popular niches out there looking for leads and looking for marketing agencies to increase conversions. We work with quite a wide variety, but I would say a lot of small to mid-sized businesses and a lot in the home service niches.
Okay, awesome. Home service based digital marketing. You said you have an in-house team. Can you tell me a little bit more about that in-house team? Is that like you have an in-house media buyer, copywriter? Can you tell me more about the inside process of what you do with your marketing?
Yeah, so in-house, we have myself and three or four staff members on in terms of some of that. The more of the media buying and the ad stuff, that's actually a white label partner of mine, a very good fulfillment ads company where it's more cost effective for
Yeah,
me to outsource that than to have all those people in-house. So
sure.
it's a little bit of a mix. Some of that's outsourced and delegated, but I have experts on my team in terms of funnel building, conversions, things like that. More of the creative and the targeting and the ad campaigns are outsourced.
Got it. Okay. That really helps me understand that process there. And then with the media buying process, I know you said you have a really good partnership there. Are we seeing consistent results with them at this point, or are we starting to see anything tiered towards, iOS updates, obviously election season, ad spend's going up. Are we seeing things staying stagnant? Where are we at right now with the media buying process?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty steady. We go through a little bit of seasonal growth in different niches, like you mentioned. Like, we do have some fundraising and political campaigns. Those obviously jump every 2 to 4 years in certain, monthly cycles.
Yeah.
But I think overall speaking, we're pretty we're pretty stable and steady. There's not a lot of up or down right now. The one thing I would say is what I want to be seeing more of is sustained results for clients. Like, we can get initial results right off the bat, and anybody can do that has an expertise, right? You go in and make some tweaks, or there's something glaring, but we want to have the more long-term effects too, and long-term results to increase retention and keep showing them month after month that what we're giving them isn't kind of fading. And that's the one thing I am noticing, kind of the results we deliver in terms of lead gen. It's great in the beginning and it fades off a little as time goes.
Got it. Okay. So something to keep it consistent, sustainable, and predictable to help with retention with our clients, and results continue to drive in. Yes.
Long-term marketing solutions rather than just, quick wins and short peaks.
Yeah. Long-term architecture. I love it, man. Very good. Okay. So with what you guys are doing right now, where do you feel would be the most effective for you? And we can kind of break it down. You said you have a good understanding of the pixel and the audience builder, which I can break down in more depth and detail, and will do. But is there one over the other you feel it would your clients would benefit most from, first and foremost?
I wouldn't say I know it well, right? I just hit your ad maybe 72 hours ago, so I've kind of binged over the last 2 or 3 days. I have a good overview. I didn't dissect it all. I watched 2 videos and the little kind of authority page with some of the case studies on there.
Yeah.
So I was kind of interested because I saw a lot of different niches, some that I have clients in, right, within your case studies. That was another thing that interests me.
Nice.
But I would like a better understanding of exactly how it works. I have some ideas, but I'm trying to really wrap my head around the conceptual aspect of what I can really deliver and how this would best work for them. Is it more off the audience builder? Is it more off the pixel? Is it a combination? I'm not really sure how that would work yet.
Sure. Yeah. Let me just kind of break that down and give you the example, a very, very high level of pixel and audience builder and what they can do and their capabilities. So first and foremost, I'll just kind of give you, like, again, the really understanding of how the pixel works. So as you said,
Okay.
you do have a super graph, right? Which you said you understood that. That just basically what that means is we consumed roughly about 90% of the United States population on that super graph, right? So everything's being tracked in place where we can obviously understand what's happening and ping things and position things to our super graph to get that information back to you. So the way that works is our pixel, simply just a piece of code. That's all that is. We place that on your website, URL, landing page, wherever you're driving traffic. It can be organic, it can be paid. It does not matter. As long as traffic's being driven to it, the pixel can go there and identify individuals. So once that pixel is installed, what will happen is now when you're pushing traffic and someone comes to your page, that pixel will fire, goes directly to our super graph, queries our graph, fires back all the way over to you, which is called a webhook. And that can go to a CRM, that can go to Google Sheets, that can go to whatever ad platform that you want. All capabilities there, platform agnostic. And that takes roughly about 30 seconds to do. So what's going to happen at that point is once it fires, it comes back to you. How we can identify people is in 2 ways. So first and foremost, I know you said most of what you're doing is built towards ad spend currently at this time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say at least half of the marketing dollars are going toward ad spend for clients. Some of it's SEO, some of it's organic strategies and long tail keywords, those type of things. But I would say at least 50% of my marketing spend for clients is going toward paid advertising.
Okay, very good. So what we do on a high level, again, is we can't identify every single person that comes in, right? That's just not realistic. However, on average across the board, we're seeing a match rate of about 50 up to 70% on average, right? And I like to give worst case scenarios, so let's just kind of keep it at 50. So for every 1 out of 2 individuals that come to your site, your page, what have you, we're able to identify those people with a hashed email, right? So you don't know my name, you don't know my number, anything of that nature. However, that hash email is going to be able to allow you to retarget that direct individual from that exact device with where they were at that just came to you within the last 30 seconds. That is, again, roughly 50 to 70% we're able to identify there. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions on that, Ray?
No, not any questions. And if you said you could identify everyone, I would probably already think you're bullshit.
100%, man. 100%. So hashed email. Now, next step from there, if you want to take it a little bit deeper and go more towards actual personal information, right? So what things you can use for email, SMS, call center, direct mail, etc. However your clients or you activate the data. What we're able to do is take that one step lower. And from that 70% that we're able to identify with the hashed email, we're also able to identify roughly 70% with personal information as well from there. So as we tier that down, that's going to allow you to not only target individuals with ad spend that you have at a much higher tier, which is fantastic because that's what you're doing, 50 to 70% of those individuals coming in. One step below, we can actually get the personal information so you can do emails, again, SMS, etc. So there's those two features as far as how that works there for you. So you would know it's Jesse Gibson, my phone number, my email, my address, right? Anything that you want to know about myself, about 250 parameters that we can pull from. Rather than being, with like Facebook or Google, it's very, very fine tuned. You can't really pick and choose who you're trying to target. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah. So if I'm doing this for clients and that pixel is just a piece of code, so that means I need to put it on every client's site?
So yeah, you take a pixel, and on the sites that we have, yep, you're just going to install that on whatever landing pages that you have, and it'll be in one account there for you, and then you can utilize that accordingly. Also, if you have, if you're testing 1, 2, and 3 landing pages, you can see the different conversions and how things are coming through and what's being identified as well. And that way you really understand how to scale or which angle is going to be best for you with how you can identify people and look at your conversion rate on the back end as well. So yeah, very simple to do. It literally takes you 5 seconds to take, load, you put it in the header of the page, save, and you're good to go, and it's active in place. We have a very simple 5-step process for onboarding. So again, I'm not very techie at all. If I can do it, trust me, you can do it.
And then once I utilize that, you're saying I can retarget by the traffic that is resolved and identified. I can put that back into any ad platform, but also retargeting via SMS, phone call, email, and all those other platforms, social media, things like that.
That's correct. Yeah. So with hashed email, we're able to identify roughly 50 to 70% of anonymous traffic that did not opt in, that just came to your page and bounced off. And then from there, of that that's been identified, we're able to identify roughly about another 70% with personal information. So you could utilize email, SMS, etc. So on a very, very high level, you can kind of understand what that looks like. So for example, let me go ahead and pull this up here and kind of show you. We can kind of walk me
Does
through.
this also help me build like custom and lookalike audiences for those campaigns?
Correct. Yep. Absolutely.
Huh.
So what I'm going to do here, Ray, is I'm going to pull this up and let's just kind of walk through this here specifically. And I can kind of gear this towards what you're doing overall. But on average right now, let's just take your biggest client that you have. Do we know the monthly traffic that that client has in place for them at this time?
Biggest client in terms of what they spend with me or how much money their business makes?
Just as far as traffic, how many unique visitors are coming through on a monthly basis from the analytics that you're seeing?
Geez, that's got to be some of it. Like my real estate or my law firm clients probably get the highest amount of traffic. They get a lot more than like my roofers and electricians and stuff. I know some of them getting 10 to 20,000. I mean, 20,000, I would say, is a safe number. I mean, it could be higher. I don't really know the amount of monthly traffic of all my clients off the top of my head in particular. I know that for my business, but I don't know it for all my clients. I think 20,000 is probably a good number there for some of my law clients in real estate.
Okay. Yeah, man. I like worst case scenario. So this is
It could even be higher, but yeah, I think 20 is a safe number.
Yeah. So let's just do 17.5. Like I said, 20, you feel is safe, but let's just be very, very realistic here. I want to give you realistic numbers. Now, with that client, do we know what our CPA is roughly with that individual at this time?
Cost per acquisition, you're probably looking at about 175.
Okay, 175. And with that process through the funnel that's been built out, I know you have funnels. You said you create, copy, media buying that's outsourced. What is our sales conversion rate through that funnel?
This one's probably about 5%.
Oh, very good. Industry standard is usually about 2 to 4. So 5%, that means you're actually doing fairly well. Okay, so that's positioning this here. So it looks like monthly traffic is about 17,500. CPA is 175 with a sales conversion rate of 5%. That's giving you roughly about 875 units a month, with your estimated spend being about 153,000 in ad spend monthly. Does that sound correct?
I think we get, so all that looks right until that monthly ad spend. I mean, we drive, I have the graph up right now. We drive about 50,000 in ad spend for that client each month to get 17,000 visitors. So
let's take a look here and we can just kind of play with it. So that would essentially say at these parameters, that puts you at roughly a 2% conversion rate if this is where you're at. You think the cost per acquisition might have fluctuated a little bit as well? Like I said, if you're at about 50,000, I want to make sure we're as close as physically possible.
Yeah, maybe so. That might be, yeah, maybe that is.
There you go. So if we just kind of
That's probably closer. That's probably closer. I thought they were converting about 5%, but maybe that number's off.
All good. No worries, man. That's why we do this here, to kind of really get numbers in place. So that gives you 350 units with ad spend about 52.5. So that's right about where we're at. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's about what we're spending, correct?
And with that client, the AOV obviously in those areas is a little bit higher. What is our average order value that we'd have on a conversion for that
Yeah,
client?
so the initial order value is 797. And then some of them get more upsells on the back end, obviously, but that's what comes in initial revenue.
Awesome. So revenue puts them at roughly about 278,000 a month with a profit of 225,000 a month. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, they're doing over 500, but over 200, you're right, 275 or so is on that additional order.
Love it. Okay. So what this is going to show you essentially is of the ad spend that you have in place, the 52,500, what's being wasted and not captured by utilizing just the standard platforms of Facebook, Google.
Oh, that's crazy. Almost 40 out of 52,000 is wasted.
So roughly, let's just say 40,000 of your 52,000 in spend is wasted, just gone, right? People came, no clue who they are, no way to retarget them, don't know anything about them, and they're just off and running, right? So literally just piss that money down the drain. And if you're taking a look here, we can really understand, again, industry standard for actually being able to match people coming through from Facebook and Google is roughly 15%. It's actually generally lower, but again, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and can tell you it's about 15%. So of that ad spend, 52,000.
And that match is really only relevant for retargeting, right?
Correct. Yep. For retargeting specifically, right? So that way you can do reactivation campaigns and drop the CPA rather significantly, because obviously with reactivation, CPA is generally dropped.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yep.
So that's giving you out of 52,000 spend, 2,625 individuals that you're able to match. So you can retarget them. Okay. Now, our pixel, as I told you, identifies 50 to 70% on average across the board of over hundreds of clients that we have. However, I just like worst case scenarios. I'm going to say it's 45% or 3 times the average of, again, standard social media platforms. So 45% pixel match rate. The match visitors you're going to have with just by simply placing our piece of code on your page is 7,717. Okay. From there, cleaning the data, right? Because there's do not calls, et cetera, things of that nature for personal information. Again, I told you it's 70% we can identify. That's going to give you 5,400 people that you can do email, SMS, call center, a
direct contact.
Correct. This is going to be more for ad platforms directly, right? With the hash Gmail. And this is the personal information for more specific targeting. Correct. Now, from there, platform match.
That would
targetable.
Okay, go ahead.
Targetable. Yep, go ahead. Again, roughly about.
Would this last number be more like the people that I could use for retargeting, the 6,900 number?
Correct. Yep. So the match visitors here, you're going to see a 10% fall off from that as well, right? We just, again, worst case scenarios. So it gives you 6,900 people that you can target. So what you have with the standard, right, industry average, 2,600.
So I'm getting 4,500 more.
Correct. Yeah. 4,500 more individuals that came to you that you already paid to know who you are that just walked away.
See, that's pretty cool for my law client here. If I can get 7,000 more people into retargeting ad campaigns as well as 5,400 in direct calls or emails, there's no way we wouldn't convert more people.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go through that here and just estimate it again. And again, this is going to come down to your funnels and you guys. So this is on you, but giving you the data back, that's just put in rough estimates as to what that might look like for them, right? So you said this is 17,500, correct? We came to?
Yeah, that's what we went with. Yeah, I think it's even maybe a little higher, but yeah.
Yep, 150 was a cost per acquisition.
Yeah, 2% here.
2%, and this was 797. Is that correct?
Right. Yep.
So 350 here, like I said, 52,500 spend. As we said, everything's there. So broken down here, if we can take a look and identify this, this is going to.
Why don't we put the reactivation back at 2% since that's the original one, right?
This one?
No, yeah, but down there you have it again, reactivation rate. I think it should be probably the same as the initial one, right? Down a little more where you have 3%.
Let me see here. Oh, yep.
Shouldn't that be 2? Like we want to keep it the same as the initial conversion rate?
Yeah, there you go. Yep. So yeah, guys, you'd make sure this is the same here as the sales conversion. We don't want to change anything up, right? And we can also come in and be like, okay, awesome. Yeah. So with the conversion rate at 2%, we're just going to say things would be the exact same at 2%. But again, would you expect that would probably potentially be higher because you're retargeting these individuals that already know who you are? Is that safe to say, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, targeting a warm audience that's already landed on my website and been through my ad campaign, I can message that person a little more directly with a couple different angles now that they know us. So yeah, I would agree.
Awesome, man. So at that point, you're taking a look here, 6,000, right? Matches in place roughly. Re-opt-in is 7%. That's industry standard at 7 to 10. I like to give you worst case scenarios for 7. So recovered leads, you're looking at 420 individuals with a 2% conversion rate. That's 8 additional deals in place at the 799, which gives you a rough estimate of about 7,000 additional income coming through, not
And
including
that's just on the front end. Yeah.
yeah. So that's, and again, this is with what you're already doing, not changing anything up in place whatsoever. Safe to say this could fluctuate maybe to 3, even potentially 4%, because again, this is retargeting, right? They already know who
Yeah,
you
there's a
are.
good chance that number would double, but I like the low
Yep.
case estimate and just in case, but I think you're right.
So ultimately here, like I said, just by adding a piece of code to our page, worst case scenarios, worst case numbers with your average conversion rate right now, that puts an additional roughly $7,000 in your client's pocket every single month.
And again, out of 8 people, they probably upsell one into their large 20K package. So normally with something like that, I could add, again, that's all on my end, not your guys, but that could even be that number could be probably 20,000 higher per month.
Awesome, man. So that kind of covers the pixel, right? As far as that goes, that would be the main feature, I think, honestly, first and foremost, where since you already have established campaigns in place, we can add that and continue to expand with what you're doing for more long-term approach with proper retargeting. Do you have any questions further on that pixel process, Ray? Anything you want to dive deeper into?
No, that kind of filled in the dots of what I didn't know.
Awesome. So not only that was one client we talked about there, do you feel this would be beneficial for all the clients you have in your pipeline?
A good majority, at least. Yeah, the ones getting significant traffic, I could see it, right? I have a few that are still early on and don't get a lot of traffic quite yet, but yeah.
And then also let me ask you this too. Now, with your approach of how you actually work with your clients, are you performance-based retainer? Can you tell me about how you run that part of your business?
We offer primarily, we start off on a monthly retainer, and then some of our additional packages and services can be built in at different, I have different options going forward. There are some performance-based things. Our clients that spend more on ads, we have more of a performance-based or a threshold, your cost goes down once you spend X amount of dollars, the retainer drops, things like that.
Okay.
But initially it's a monthly retainer to start. I 2,500 a month for our basic services, and then they can add on services for percentages of revenue, or $500 a la carte, like add on SEO this month for 500, whatever.
Got it.
But
Okay.
2,500 per month to get in the door and get the overall services.
Awesome. So with the upsells and things that you do currently already on the performance side of things, right? Do you feel not only benefiting your clients, but this with the performance side would also help you make more money on the back end as well?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to help in a couple of ways. It would more help with what I talked about, the lifetime value and the retention and keeping people on longer and delivering those longer lasting results. Again, I don't think I'll charge much more upfront, but it's going to make me more money in the long run and on the back end. And that's what I'm more looking for. So yeah,
Awesome.
there's a couple of ways it can make extra revenue though.
Yeah, it's always nice to have clients stick with you, 12, 24 months rather than 3 to 6 and have to continue to reinvent the wheel or, a revolving door. So with the LTV growing and retention, that's essentially the biggest angle of what you're looking to do for your business specifically. Is that correct?
Yep,
okay.
Definitely.
And now with just the pixel alone, we haven't got an audience builder. Do you feel the pixel alone would help LTV and retention with yourself with where you are today if you were to put this in your practice as of today?
Yeah, I'd be pretty certain. I mean, if it does what you just said, yeah.
Awesome, man. Love it. Very good. Okay. So essentially that's that portion of what we do is a fit for you as far as what you're looking for moving forward, correct?
I believe so.
Awesome, man. And then with the audience builder, I can touch base on that too. That's very simple to go over. But again, this is more so for individuals that are just starting to kind of get ad spend in place, starting the media buying process. This essentially allows us to really expedite things, target the proper person versus have to guess with a very limited access of Facebook and Google allows you to kind of target. So that being said, the audience builder, what do you know about that at this point from what you've seen so far?
I mean, it looks like from what I saw Adam do, it looks like within 4 minutes, he built out a list for a private attorney similar to my client that just got him a bunch of, it was almost like I don't know if it's called in-market data, but it was just like real-time list of everybody in a certain radius based on the parameters we look for with their name, email, phone number. So that's just like a generated list that we can load up into a CRM and have our team call or put into email campaigns. But it's not directed from, somebody's particular website or from an ad campaign. It's just generated from the data that you guys are already collecting. I think that's the best I understood it.
Yep. And guys, I'm cutting for a second. So what Ray said right there, I asked that question so I can exactly say what he just said, right? The one thing that stuck out to me is real-time lists, right? Everything he said on top of that was what came after that. So now I can really focus on the verbiage that he used to tie it into what he believes is what he wants. Okay. So that's why I asked that question. I don't just want to start diving into it and explaining it in my words. I want to know what he says so I can say the exact same thing back in the way that he's going to understand it with what just came out of his mouth. So cool. All right. Back into it. All right, awesome, man. So yeah, the real-time list, absolutely. That is 100% correct as to what we can do. I can dive a little bit deeper into that as far as options that you have. So in the audience builder, there are two different portions that we have in place, right? The first one is going to be pre-made categories we've already put together for you. So we looked at our clients, consumers, everything, and basically built out almost like idiot-proof, pre-built type of targeting for specific niches, for specific businesses, etc. Right? There's about, I think, 10,000 in there we can choose from. And again, yes, what's going to happen is you'll put that in there, take a look, it'll automate that list within roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes it can be in the queue, take a little bit longer, but that's about on average. And that data will refresh every 24 hours. So if you need a new list today, tomorrow, the next day, you can refresh that list and continue to test those angles, and really get that going. That's going to be a little bit more broad, which is what we would actually suggest. And then that way you can fine tune it and see what's really working with the right angles and target things more specifically. Does that make sense?
Yep. So this would be something I could use internally and build out lists and get leads for clients that are early on, that aren't getting a lot of traffic, or that aren't quite doing ad spend, and are just investing in other our services, more of like the content and the copy and the auditing and the things like that.
Yeah, this is something you not only can use for your clients, but you as well. I know you said you're basically, full service digital marketing, right? So you can really target people for yourself specifically that are not so geared towards digital marketing and bring them in and build them up from the ground up. Absolutely. On top of that, you can also use it for clients that are coming in that are looking to build their ad spend or test different angles, right? A, B, and C test things. And really pull those in a broad spectrum. So that's there for you, already done, auto-populated, very simple to use. The second,
off what I gather, I can search based off of industry keywords for my client and get the list of people searching that kind of had intent looking for those type of things, whether it's roof repair or furnace inspection or whatever.
Yep, that leads into the second feature that I'm about to speak to. That's
okay, awesome.
So that is the keyword planner. So what we do is we put together and shown you how to establish specific keywords, type those in, and we're going to generate lists for individuals that are looking for those type of keywords. It's not going to be the exact keyword of every single person. It is inferred with AI. So again, if you have ice cream, it could be chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, sorbet, froyo, things of that nature are going to be very common to that type of category. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So yes, you can also pull specific keywords, right? So again, if it's a tire company, new tires, new tread, winter tires, snow tires, whatever you need to do. Again, attorney, personal injury, accident, etc. Whatever those keywords are, we not only can take a look and show you what is being looked at every single day, and then take those SKUs or those numbers and say, okay, this keyword is showing 10,000, searches a day. This one's showing 3,000. This one's showing 500. This one's showing 50,000. And we're going to take the top keywords there for you and plug those in. That way, we're really highlighting exactly what is working in real time, pulling those lists for you. And again, that is also refreshed every 24 hours. So if you need continuous for that as well, that can happen for you, for your clients, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So between those two features, IAB built out categories for you already. Simple, stupid, very broad to kind of test, or keyword more specific, where you can get more granular, dial things in with what you really want. Do you have any questions on those two features, how those work, or how that can help your business?
Really? No, I don't really have any questions on it.
Okay. So I know we said the Pixel, we felt that was a fit for clients currently. What about the audience builder? What feature do you feel would be best there for them? The IAB, the keyword, or just in general, it would be a help to your clients. What do you feel that could do for you?
Probably the keyword feature, for the audience builder. When I came into the call, and from what research I did, I was kind of more intrigued and more kind of jacked up about the audience builder feature. But actually, after the call, I think the Pixel is probably better initially for especially my higher tier clients and the ones spending ad spend and getting significant traffic.
Yes.
But I can see a benefit to both. So yeah, I actually think the Pixel is probably the better of the two for exactly what I'm looking for, but I can certainly see a benefit in both.
Awesome, man. I love it. So as far as everything regarding here today, what we've covered, do you have any further questions on the Pixel, on the process, the audience builder, anything more specifically you want to know about who we are and what we do?
Pixel process. No, I don't think I do. I mean, I understand it because I have a full stack marketing agency. So you don't really have to explain the retargeting and all the campaigns and the keywords. Like I know all that from, market research and time in the industry. So I think that would be a lot of the questions people might have. The only question I have, I guess, is what's it cost for me, and what's the difference between like the Pixel and the Audience Builder? Does it all come in one thing? Is it separate? How does that all work?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me get to that here in a second. I just want to make sure I have everything covered on my end. So again, no further questions about what we covered here today. Pretty much understand it.
Yeah.
Feel this is something that could be beneficial for you. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
totally.
awesome. So that being said as well, now ultimately with the Audience Builder, with the Pixel, those do come together, right? You feel like moving forward from what you've been doing currently versus adding these features into your business, which would be a better fit for you?
Rephrase it. Say again.
Yeah. So with what you're currently doing right now, without the Pixel, without the Audience Builder, right? You know, you said with LTV, retention, long-term architecture of what you're doing, not where it needs to be. By adding our features in there, do you feel with our features in place for your business and your clients, or what you're doing currently, which would be better for you moving forward?
The one with you guys.
Okay. So safe to say you feel this is a fit moving forward as far as where you're at.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Very good. So as far as that goes, yes, as I said, the Pixel and the Audience Builder, they are combined. They come together. It's not one or the other, right? And we just kind of tier it based upon volume.
That's what I
So
wasn't sure about.
essentially, we just need to understand what the volume is overall, or all inclusive for your clients and yourself. Match wise with what you're seeing across the board. And again, we can adjust if we're slightly off, not a big deal. Can you give me a rough estimate as to how many matches you're seeing collectively with you and all of your clients on a monthly basis?
How many matches I'm seeing collectively? I don't know. I don't know what that means exactly.
So how many, excuse me, how many visitors, I apologize. How many visitors are you getting on a monthly basis to your clients' websites, all collectively, and yours as well? Like, so between all 10 of my clients, I had 100,000 people come to all of our sites collectively from the
It's
analytics.
at least that number. I don't know exactly, but it's definitely 100,000.
Okay, 100,000.
I mean, I probably got that within 10 clients, and yeah. I mean, total, all my, it's got to be more than 100,000.
Okay, very good. And now with the LTV and retention process there, I mean, how soon are you looking to kind of get that fixed? If you have a fix for that, is that something that's like immediate next week, next month? Where are we at with that process?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's an immediate fix, but I still want to do it sooner rather than later. It's not like something broken or a problem. It's just looking at a long-term solution before it becomes a problem. And I already see the life cycle of clients. After 6 months, they start to see like, well, now I have this website dialed in. I understand my conversions. They don't think they need you anymore. So something that more makes them understand like, hey, without me, you're not going to be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Sure. So, I mean, you feel if you're able to present this to your clients, showing them what you're doing without actually having to upcharge them or anything, which you could do if you wanted to, but say we keep it mainstream, showing them the ad spend that they're wasting and what you're giving them back with the product that you have in place in your pocket, you feel it'll make them stay longer, or at that point, they think they can do the work without you?
Yeah, no, I totally think it'll make it stay longer, which is why we're still talking for one. And I think after I see it working for these clients, it might be something I build into to charging more for in the future. But right now, I don't want to charge more. I just want to deliver better results initially.
Love it, man. Awesome.
I'm going to make more anyway off some of the performance incentives I have with clients by doing it anyhow.
Awesome. So LTV, you feel would be better, more money with the performance aspect of it. So, I mean, that being said, finances aside, do you have any hesitation at moving forward here today, provided that the financials of the investment line up?
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, if that makes sense, I don't see why I wouldn't.
Awesome. Okay, guys. So see what I did there? Like, again, I just kind of I was trying to get Ray to give me a fucking objection, and like, he just really didn't. And then he just kind of gave me a little hesitation. And then I kind of came back and was like, okay, well, with the LTV, with the retention, would they leave you? Would that basically give you what you need to alleviate what is your biggest issue right now? He's like, yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm still talking to you. So it wasn't necessarily a hard tie down, but I got something out of him and got him to say like, yeah, with you, I'm much better than where I would be without you. And I really want you guys to really try and dive in and like try and get hit with objections as much as fucking possible in that end. Like, I talked probably more than I would have, but I was trying to extract something and I got a little bit, and I was able to isolate that and move it forward and then tie it down to, cool, if the money lines up, do you have any hesitation in moving forward today? So objection gone, tie down, money objection. Yes, if the money is there, we're good to go. So Ray, do you want to add anything to that? What I just said?
I was going to cover that. I have some notes I was going to cover. I thought we were just going to do like a quick recap after we finish the whole flow of it. You want me to just go into it now, this part?
Yeah, go into it. Yep.
Yeah. So the reason that I thought about as I'm going through this, do I want to be difficult? How many objections? And I probably wanted to, but the reason that I didn't is because he didn't give me a reason to. It was really the way that his questions flowed in the beginning from the situation phase to how he kept it really simple. He isolated and tied down multiple times throughout this and just made sure it made sense before he moved on. He did all those things to the point where like I would be making something up to say an objection, and I'm not going to make one up just to make one up. If he gave me a spot for one or didn't cover something thoroughly, I would have zinged it back at him. That's the point I'm trying to get across here is when you ask the right questions and your call flows properly, your chances of getting objections is highly reduced, right?
Yep. So yeah, guys, as you can see, like I literally tiered it. And again, what Ray did was like, he was like, I originally thought the audience builder was what I really wanted. And after explaining this, it looks like the pixel is actually even better. So the benefit of what he thought audience builder was great already. That's why he's here. Now I just showed him a feature that's actually even better. But the way that I guided the conversation, he allowed me to do that. And he made that decision on his own and came to that conclusion himself. So now it's not just like audience builder is what I want, and the pixel, whatever. Fuck, the pixel's better plus audience builder. There's way more intent there off of what he wants and what he's looking for. But again, that was driven off of the questions I asked where he guided me so I can provide those solutions and those answers taken from problem unaware to aware. Like that's the entire shift we're trying to do there. And then just isolate and trying to time down with any objections I have leading up to money. And at that point, again, we can come back. I showed him the fucking waste, right? He said that would help with LTV. He said that would help with retention. He said that would help with his performance percentage on the back end. So he'll be making more money without having to charge more on the retainer. And basically showing him that process, like saying like, damn, yeah, like I can get 3x more individuals coming through that are identified, hyper targeted and utilize that directly into an ad platform. Like absolutely. On top of that, I can also use the audience builder for myself and for clients. Like there's just so many benefits and features there to where like he's just basically building this up himself to like why there. I don't know how he would have told me no at the very, very end of this, which he could have. And then we would have to recap it, which is fine. But again, as Ray said, I almost gave him zero reason, zero objection that he would have to make something up in order to say, no, I can't do this. Right. And unless it was just like, I simply don't have the money, you can go into that and do that. Right. It is what it is. But
well, you pretty much know when you're talking to an agency that's mentioning he's got 20 clients and they're getting over 100,000 in traffic per month. Like, he can afford $2,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
At that point, I think the big thing you said there, Jesse, was you asked the right questions to get it to come out of my mouth. What do we always preach? Telling isn't selling. So I'm the one that said, yeah, I thought the audience builder, like I was jacked up and that's what I wanted to learn more about, but it looks like the pixel will be more beneficial for, what I'm looking for right now, especially for my larger clients spending a lot in ad spending, getting a lot of traffic. And you're like, yeah, you're right. It would be right. But it came out of my mouth. He didn't have to tell me, hey, the pixel is going to be a better fit for your clients. So if any of you guys are telling people that, all you have to do is rephrase it in the way Jesse did, right?
Yeah. So not only that, guys, but then again, also visually, I showed Ray, and let me just share my screen again. 1 second, and then we'll wrap this up here shortly. I showed him again, and then we want to start with the wasted spend. I wouldn't get to the money side of it unless, like, for a fact, like he told me, like lawyers, attorney, something like that. I know that AOV is really fucking high. So like at the end of the day, like 797, it probably would have been a lot higher than that. It's usually like 1,500 or 3,000, but 797, even still, he's making an extra $7,000 a month, right? But this here, I drove this home. I was also able to show him, right? Well, with this here in place, just by using our code, that gives your guys an extra 7,000. He's like, well, shit, yeah. And they usually upsell 1 out of 8 to 20,000. So that's basically, let's just say 25,000 on the back end of reactivation off of 8 people coming through. Is that safe to say? Yeah, absolutely. And he's like, I can even see this being higher, but like worst case scenarios. Yeah, me too. So all that belief is there for an investment of 2,500 a month off of one client that I talked about with him of his 10 or 20, however many he has, can make them additional $7,000 a month, which is going to justify what he can do with performance and the add-on to what he's doing. Not only for his clients today, but clients coming in if he wants to build more out as he's growing his portfolio. So very simple to time down to this. Say, cool, there's the money here. This is one client, your performance aspect, and really tie it to what his process is for him to be able to justify that price if that's the way it needs to go. That's how I would handle that objection. Ray, do you want to add anything to that?
No, exactly. No, there's nothing to add to that.
Awesome. Cool, man. So any other tidbits you had there? Like I said, that the flow there, guys, that's essentially what I want us to do. The only thing I didn't do in the very beginning is I didn't cover the form fill with what he was making, where he was at, all that shit. I just kind of went into it because I had a free conversation with it. But again, that's something you can do to just really understand. If you can't have that organic conversation like I did, that's fine. Use those questions like, cool. Well, it looks like it says you're making roughly about $30,000 a month in revenue. Is that correct? Okay. Tell me about that. What's that look like? Are you doing a retainer model performance? Can you tell me how you run your business? Well, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Okay. And it looks like right now you have how many clients? Okay. And your average order value for your client right now is, you said 2,500 a month plus performance. Is that correct? Okay. What's that come out to on a monthly basis per client, roughly, for what you're doing right now within your funnel? Well, roughly about 3,500 a month per client. Okay, cool. Right. And then you can just kind of continue to flow the entire process. I did it more on the back end, just organically. But if you need to do that, those questions can be chunked out to really understand where they're at, what they're doing, and allow those answers that you're trying to get to come out of their mouth just pretty easily by asking simple questions, sitting back, shutting up, and ask another open-ended question to that. Tell me more about that. Well, what's that look like? What are you guys trying? Do you have an in-house team? Are you outsourcing that? Like, Ray openly gave me those things because the conversation just flowed like that. But you can do that in that front end based off of this the form fill that they gave you, and allow them to speak openly and freely where it can guide the conversation where you need it to go. And aside from that, really focus on, okay, cool. What do you know about us? What made you get here? What do you know about the audience builder, the pixel, whatever, however we can do that so I can drive that conversation. Ray gave me one thing, and at the end of the day, I was able to sell him more so on the pixel. But again, I want to talk about what he wants to do, show him the benefits of what it is. And if it brings even more to what we can provide from what they thought, like, why would they now say no? They're here with intent already. They understand what we want. And I just gave him an additional feature that can really fucking drive it home, which he thought the other feature was the better one. So that flow is how you can do that organically on your end, just by asking that off of the form fill. That should give you the insight that you need on like the situation or discovery portion as well.
The other thing I'd like to highlight, and the first thing in my notes of what he was talking about and how I wanted to explain this to you guys afterwards, is the question flow. Like he said, he did a little bit of that on the back end when it came to like the deal volume and things like that, but that was fine. But actually the question flow in the situation phase, what he did really seamless, and what I seem to do really well as well, and what I haven't always heard you guys do, I haven't heard a lot of your calls, especially recently, so it's hard to say, but on calls I have heard in the past, he did a really good job off of my answer to his first question. Okay, so tell me a little more about that. So you're currently, working with 10 clients, right? So what do you do for them? Oh, cool. So you delegate the ad portion, but you have an in-house team that handles more of the creative, right? The copywriting, the ads or whatever, right? So like every question really flowed off of my previous answer instead of just off of the next question he wants to ask, right? So that's what made it go so seamless and kept me very engaged. And really what that does is it keeps the, sales resistance down for your prospect. When it's flowing perfectly organic and they don't see it as like, oh, this is a question he's supposed to ask me next, right? Once they start to snuff that out, sales resistance goes up. It's just a byproduct. So those are the things I just want to reiterate and highlight. Go back and watch the beginning of how this call flowed, because a lot of people are going to pay attention to Jesse explaining the deliverables or going over the calculator, but really focus on the beginning of the question flow and how organic and seamless that went, and focus off his question based off my prior answer when you watch this back. I think that will help you guys just to make sure that you're doing it in a similar manner. I don't expect you to be a carbon copy of Jesse, but you can understand the effectiveness and the flow of what he did.
Yeah, guys. So again, it's all asking questions. I really didn't educate Ray that much. He did know more than probably most people, which is fine. But again, I keep it very, very high level. So does that make sense? Do you have any questions on that? How can that be used within your business? Would this work within your client that we're talking about currently? What benefit would that bring? Like, how many fucking questions can I ask off of that? You know what I mean? And let him just talk and sell himself on it. So again, good shit, Ray. Thank you. I
got to sum up one more thing real quick. So
yep.
What you just said was kind of important, but like, hey, Ray knew more than maybe the average guy you're talking to. But what I did do in that role play is I tried to put myself in the ideal client, and what we have set up now with the authority page, with sending more people to Adam's YouTube channel. Like, we should start to get a few more people in that go through this, and our ideal clients will do a little research, right? So I think we should start to see more of that. I think you're right now, Jesse. Probably a majority of people are less educated or haven't seen a video or anything yet. But going forward with everything we're putting into place now and who we're targeting, I think you're going to see more and more of that.
Perfect. All right, man. Thanks, Ray, for being here. I'm going to call Craig and get on with that. But guys, we'll send this over here today. It is
all right. I'll see you shortly.
May 3rd. Later.